This is the Rove R3 Ultimate Hardwire Kit, and on this video I'm going to show you what you get inside of the box when you purchase one of these kits and how it works in preparation for installation. As always, I have placed a link to this kit in the description down below in case you need to get one. And here's the star of the show, the Rove R3 Hardwire Kit, and as you can see, this thing is tiny. And on this side we have the wires that are going to go to the fuse box of the vehicle, and on this side we have the end that's going to go to the dash cam. As you can see, it has a USB-C port. Now on this side we have a total length of 1 meter, which is about 3 feet, and on this side we have a length of about 3 meters, which is about 9 feet in length. And for power, this kit is able to output 5 volts at 2 amps. And this kit also supports low voltage battery protection, which means that this kit is going to turn off automatically when the battery voltage gets to a certain point. Now we do have the ability to select when we want that voltage cutoff to occur. We have 4 potential positions that are achieved by moving the switch into either one of those 4 positions. So we can have this kit turned off when the battery gets to 12.4, when the battery gets to 12.2, when the battery gets to 12.0, or if you're really adventurous, when the battery gets to 11.8. And you'll notice that this kit also supports 24-volt systems. So if your car runs on 24 volts, we can have this battery cutoff happen at 24.8, 24.4, 24.0, or 23.6. So you can think of the low voltage protection in this way. The further that the switch is towards the right, the safest it's gonna be in terms of not getting stranded, and the further it is towards the left, we're telling the kit to stay on the longest and record the most amount of video possible, even though that's gonna consume more battery. You'll also notice that we have a parking mode switch, which we have 2 positions, the default position or the position towards the left. Rove recommends that this switch be left in the default positions for Rove dash cams. For other dash cams that may not react to this position and may not activate the parking mode, this switch can be flipped over to the left hand side, and that should activate the parking mode according to Rove. You'll also notice that on the bottom of the kit we have some double-sided tape, which should help to secure this by peeling that and sticking this to the vehicle so this is not moving around after installation. But now let's take a closer look at the wires that are going to go to the fuse box of the vehicle. And as you can see, we have 3 wires: GND, BAT, and ACC. Let's start with GND. GND stands for ground, so this has to be connected to a metallic portion of the vehicle. Typically I find a bolt that I can loosen and I can slide this underneath and retighten the bolt, giving me ground. The next 2 wires is BAT and ACC. Let's start with BAT. BAT has to be connected to a power source that always has power all the time, even if the car is on or off. Next up we have ACC. ACC has to be connected to a source of power that only has power when the car is in the accessory position or when the car is fully running. So to recap, ground is going to go to a metallic portion of the vehicle, BAT is going to go to a power source that has power all the time, even when the car is off, and ACC has to go to a power source that has power only when the car is in the accessory position or when the car is fully running. You'll also notice that BAT happens to be a red wire and ACC happens to be a yellow wire. However, I've seen some other hardwire kits where BAT is a yellow wire and where ACC is a red wire. And that is the reason why I always go by the labels instead of the colors, because different hardwire kits may assign a different color to BAT or ACC. But how do I actually connect the wires to my fuse box? As you can see, this does not fit in the fuse box. That's where Rove has included these fuse tabs, and the fuse tab is going to be connected right here. I'm going to fully push in that so it fully locks, and then I'm going to cover that with the protective sleeve, and now I have an end that connects to the fuse box like if it was a normal fuse. And as you can see, the Rove R3 kit contains a total of 10 fuse tabs. Now we only need to connect 2 wires. Why do we have 10 fuse tabs when I only really need 2? Well, that is because different cars use different fuse sizes. So as you can see, this fuse size right here is much larger than this one. This is what we call an ATO fuse. Then we have the mini fuse, and then we have the micro fuse, and finally we have the low profile fuse. So we only need to use the size that fits our vehicle. For example, if my vehicle happens to use this large size, I don't need any of these guys, I don't need any of these guys, I just need 2 large ones, which are the ATO. Moving back to the fuse box of the car, ideally if there are empty fuse spaces, installation is gonna be pretty straightforward, because I'm gonna look for ACC power and BAT power. Let's imagine that this one right here is BAT power. So I'm gonna take my BAT fuse tab and insert that in there. Now let's imagine that this one right here provides ACC power. So now I can install my fuse tab in here, and now I have ACC power. But it is possible that I may not have any extra fuse spaces on my vehicle. Now this means I'm gonna have to remove an existing fuse in order for me to install my fuse tab. Let's imagine that this fuse right here is the one that happens to provide ACC power. So I can pull that fuse off and I can install the fuse tab in here. Now this creates an issue because this fuse has to be reinstalled back into place. And this is where the fuse tab has a second position in order for me to do that. I'm gonna take that fuse and I'm gonna insert that into here and fully bottom that out. Now I can connect my fuse tab to the fuse box of my vehicle. So as you can see, a functional fuse tab has allowed me to have two fuses into a single fuse spot. And in case you're curious how I actually find ACC and BAT on my vehicle, I have made a separate video showing that process in detail. I'll put a link to that video in the description down below. So as you can see, fuse tabs can be used to change the fuse size, but also can be used to have two fuses into one fuse spot. So I really like that the Rove R3 kit contains enough fuse tabs for pretty much any potential scenario. And I also like that quick disconnect system where I can put a fuse step on here or change that very quickly. I have reviewed other hardwire kits in the past that do not include fuse tabs or do not include the quick disconnect system, and I wish more hardwire kits would come in this way. But this is probably my favorite accessory in the kit, and that is this little probe right here that allows me to find the right spaces for BAT and ACC. Let me show you how this works. So as you can see, I have connected one end of the probe to ground, which is normally a metallic portion of the vehicle, and with the other end I can now probe and look for power. Let's imagine that I am looking for power on this fuse spot. I could press on here and what do you know? It lights up, and it's a little hard to see on here, but it actually says 12.4 volts. So it tells me not only that I have voltage, it tells me what the right amount of voltage is. So having this little probe comes in very handy. I could do the same process with a voltmeter, but that requires two hands. With this little probe that they include, I can do all the probing single-handed. But they also include this little baggie with a couple of zip ties, some cable clips with double-sided tape if we wanted to secure any loose cables, and a little fuse puller tool. And they also include this installation spatula, which is helpful to hide cables underneath the trim of the vehicle. And finally, we get this user manual, which is in full color and in English, and this is probably one of the most detailed manuals that I've seen in a hardwire kit because it explains how everything works and is very visual driven. So there is a lot of pictures that go along each explanation, including how the kit can be installed, how fuse tabs work, how the little probe works, and how the kit can be installed correctly or incorrectly on a vehicle, which is helpful to understand the different things that can happen during installation. So now that you're familiar with the hardwire kit, make sure you check out my other video where I show you the actual hardwire kit installation process. I place a link to that video in the description down below, along with a kit to this kit in case you need to get one. And if you have any other questions regarding the Rove R3 Ultimate Hardwire Kit, please put that in the comments down below. If you found any part of this video helpful, hit the thumbs up button to support the channel, and stay tuned as I have more dashcam videos coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.